English boys like get quite a lot of hate, I think, for like their behaviour on nights out and things like that.
If you said like, okay, let's please.
I'm broke.
Shoot your shot. Why not? You might score.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Arnaud from France, and today I'm going to be asking British girl what it's like to date in the UK, what's the do's and don'ts to do in the UK if you want to date someone. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting. As usual guys, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like button, and also my Instagram, I'm sharing my day life in Sheffield, so you can check that too. Alright guys, let's go, let's do it, come on. So basically the main topic of today is what it's like to date in the UK. What's the things you have to, like the do's and don'ts, you know? Can you give some example?
It's not as strict as do's and don'ts. I feel like it's a lot more like maybe free, I guess, nowadays. I feel like it's very like do as you please, do what you're comfortable with the other person, whatever. I often find that like, when it comes to like paying on the first date, things like that, I'm very like split the bill, share it, or like whoever's idea it was, they pay and then the next person pays next time. Do you know what I mean? I think it's very like open, and it's all just depending on who you're with and what the kind of person you're like. But like specific do's and don'ts, that's a big question. I don't think there's anything in particular that you have to do like as a man or a woman in this day and age in the UK.
For example, like if a guy like doesn't pay for the first date, you'll be totally comfortable with it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can't be expecting people to pay for me all the time. Like, every now and then, fine, but all the time, absolutely not.
Alright. And there is like maybe like a particular thing that a guy has to do, for example, to date a girl in the UK?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's any. It's very individual. People are very individual. I don't think there is any.
For example, about yourself, maybe about yourself.
Myself, what I need.
What you need, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I actually don't even know.
Like a guy has to do something particular to get your attention, or to or to date you, yeah.
They gotta just. I guess it's just like they've got to have some kind of ambition. They've got to have something that they want to do, and they've got to be able to portray that to me, so I can be excited about it for them. But there's no like particular list. If you ask me, I find that really difficult to answer.
So maybe you have some advice, you know, for like guys, you know, who wants to date like British girls, you know, they have to do something because, you know.
It's probably quite cliche, but be a gentleman, be kind. Like, if you're picking them up, like, offer to pick them up, offer to drive, offer to like hold the door open, like take their jacket, that sort of thing. Just be chivalrous, be nice. It's a simple thing to just be kind, and it goes a really long way.
What it's like to date someone in the UK, you know? What's like the do's and don'ts, you know? Can you give like some example?
Make sure you take them out on a first date.
Okay.
McDonald's doesn't count as a date.
Okay.
Any fast food place does not count as a date. Especially in Sheffield, take nice walks. There's a lot of places to go see. You've got the Peak District right next to us.
Awesome. And like, for example, you mentioned like, you know, the dates, for example, like who has to pay for the first date, you think, you know, in the UK? How does it work exactly here?
So normally it's split evenly, but sometimes it's the case of who asks who on a first date. So normally the person who asks pays for the first date, but also split it evenly depending.
Oh, interesting. So for example, if a guy like, you know, doesn't pay for the first date, what would be your reaction? You would be mad, you would be okay with it, you know? How would you react?
I'll be fine with it. If it was just like, hey, do you mind if we split it? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever.
And like, do you think it's pretty easy to date someone in the UK, you know? What's the dating culture like in the UK, you know?
Online dating, no, it's rubbish. In like meeting someone in person, yeah, if you meet that person face to face for the first time, you realise that you have like good connection, whatever, then you go out. Online dating is a bit rubbish.
Really?
Yes.
What's the problem, you think, you know, about online dating?
A lot of people may only be in it for like a one night stand, friends with benefits, that kind of thing, nothing too serious. And it's just like all you're doing is texting people. You can't actually get to know the person until if you agree on an actual date.
And like, you know, in the UK, like what's the thing like a guy has to do to be able to date like a girl? There is some like particular stuff a guy has to do? Or?
Not really, just be nice, be funny, kind. Don't be a douchebag, and then you tend to be all right.
What it's like to date in the UK, you know? What's like the do's like and don'ts, you know, of the UK? There is like some special stuff?
I definitely think like after like hanging around a lot of Europeans, like English people have like perfected the art of like flanter. So it's like flirting, but it's banter like at the same time.
Okay.
And like I've known like lots of Europeans think it's quite rude, but English people think it's like funny, kind of. So I definitely think like dating in England, like you gotta know how to like give a little, but everything's like in good taste, kind of.
And like, you know, in the UK, maybe there is like some don'ts, for example. You know, if a guy wants to date like a girl, he has to keep in mind some certain stuff.
There's still like a big thing with like bro code, girl code, kind of. But I guess that could be anywhere. But like, I know, especially like within like my own friendship group, like if a guy's interested in a girl, like she's already kind of like off limits for everyone else, kind of.
All right.
And just like being respectful, I think, because like especially like English boys like get quite a lot of hate, I think, for like their behaviour on nights out and things like that. Like just getting too drunk and just like being disrespectful. So I think it's all just like knowing your limits, being respectful and having fun at the same time.
During the first date, who should pay, you think? Like, how does it work exactly in the UK, you know? There is like some rules or like,
I don't know. I still think there is like a whole stereotype, like an assumption that like the guy always has to pay on the first date. But I don't know, for me, like I would find that kind of uncomfortable. Because it's like a relationship should be a 50-50 like partnership, kind of. But obviously like, I don't mind if you're going to pay for this one, I'll get the next one. But I definitely think like there should not be an assumption to pay or anything.
So you will not be offended, for example, if the guy doesn't pay for a first date?
No, of course you can't assume anything. Like I think it would be wrong to turn up to a date and assume they're gonna pay. It's not a free meal at the end of the day.
So do you have like any advice, you know, for the guys out there, you know, watching, if there is like something particular they have to do to like date a British girl?
Just tell them that you like our accent. Because that's like the easiest way. Just tell us you like our accent. You might not understand us sometimes, but if you just compliment us on that, it'll be an easy way in.
What it's like to date in the UK, you know? So what's like the do's, you know, and don'ts?
I think they've got to be like confident.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Like if you like someone, just say you like them. Like, yeah.
So for example, like if a guy, you know, approach you on the street, how would you react?
I think that's like I think I'd be like, oh, good on you. Like you've got the confidence to do it. Yeah.
Like give a compliment, and then like if it's reciprocated, then that's nice. Like smile, be polite. It's nice. You know, shoot your shot. Why not? You might score.
In the UK, like who should pay for the first date, you know?
Oh, I think you could split the first date. Yeah. There's no pressure. Like if they want to pay. But like I think offer, like at least offer. I think.
All right. So the guy should offer.
No, like I think like everyone should just be like, let's split it. I think. Yeah.
All right. How about you?
Yeah, definitely split the first date. I think.
All right. So for example, if the guy like, you know, doesn't pay, how would you react? You think you would be offended, or how would you react?
No, I just think I wouldn't be offended because I'd be like, we're both like here to meet each other, like get to know each other. Like it's on both behalves to like pay. I think.
I think that's fair enough. Like do what you want, what you feel comfortable with. If you want to split, if you want to pay, it's nice. See how it goes.
What it's like to date in the UK, you know?
I think when you're dating in the UK, it really depends on your values because everyone has different values. For me, I'm Christian, so it can be a bit problematic when you meet a lot of people who have a bit of a different value from you, especially with hookup culture, which can, when you're talking to guys, sometimes they think that that's what it's leading on to. So just having, I think, the ability to have that, this is my value, this is my goal, and making sure you're both on the same page.
So you think in the UK it's like mainly like hookup culture, especially when you're in your 20s? You think that?
Yeah, I think so. I think most people, when they're in their 20s, want to explore, and exploring kind of links into hookup culture. So when you're not exactly looking for that, it does seem a bit weird to most people, which is understandable. I mean, you're in your 20s, you're trying to find new things. However, I think hopefully as you get a bit older, you will find people who maybe don't want hookup culture.
During the first date, do you think like who should pay, you know? Who should pay during the first date in the UK? How does it work exactly?
I think like in the UK, when it comes who should date on the first, like who should pay on the first date, it tends to be well, some girls will say the guy should pay, and then some guys will be like, yeah, I'll pay. And sometimes it's like split 50-50. But personally, I think it really depends on you and the person you're with. So if you have that conversation and it's set that, okay, let's split it 50-50, then it's less of an expectation from the guy of, oh, I might get something in return. So that's what most girls think nowadays.
Okay, because if the guy pays, basically he thinks maybe that it will lead to like.
Yeah, so it's almost like a protective mechanism that most girls have. However, if you're being very traditional, then it's kind of nice if the guy pays, but it's also good to have your own money just in case.
So if a guy, takes you on a date and like doesn't pay, how would you react? You would be offended?
Not really. I think, again, it depends on how the date has gone so far. I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, he hasn't paid. That's the end of me ever talking to him. If it was, a really bad date and then he doesn't pay at the end, then that's a whole day looking at it overall. However, if it was a really good date and he didn't pay at the end because we agreed that it would be 50-50, then I don't really see a problem with that.
What it's like to date in the UK, what's like the do's and don'ts, can you give your feedback?
My do's is definitely split even, because you want to show that you are just there, like you want to show that you're willing to share.
Okay. Yeah.
In my opinion. A don't is kind of like hiding your private life, because I've had way too many experiences where people have hid their private lives from me.
Okay. During the first date, when you are dating someone, would you be offended, if that person doesn't want to pay? What would be your reaction?
If they're not willing to go halves, but if it has a valid reason, then yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But if it's something like beyond stupid, I will most likely just leave.
Leave right away.
Yes.
What it's like to date in the UK, like the do's and don'ts?
I think a small gesture, so be gentleman, just don't be say random shit and spit around, British people, when they're drunk, oh my god, that's not cute. When they're drunk, so just be aware of that, yeah.
And do you think during the first date, who should pay during the first date? What's your take on that?
Let's just say if we're going to cinema,
yeah,
and then you pay for the ticket, I'll pay for the popcorn and drinks. It's not, take turns like that. Yeah, if you go on dinner dates, maybe the guy.
Okay.
And then after that, maybe go somewhere, I'll pay. Yeah.
Okay.
For me.
And for example, if the guy, for example, at the restaurant,
yeah,
if he doesn't want to pay, how would you react if you want to split or yeah?
Yeah, of course, split it. I mean, I don't want to embarrass him, run in front of him and everyone, so I'll pay for it. I pay for mine. Sometimes I pay for both when we're dating, of course, yeah.
Awesome,
yeah.
Awesome. What it's like to date in the UK, What's the do's and don'ts?
Don't take a girl to McDonald's.
Okay.
Be a gentleman.
Who should pay for a first date?
The man.
The man?
Yeah.
And if he refuses, if he said okay, let's split, what would be your reaction? How would you react, If he said okay, let's split?
I'm broke.